So before this video starts, I would like to say this wouldn't be a proper Unity tutorial without at least one Unity error that occurred during the video, which is thanks to assets having pre-built shaders into them. So yeah. Also, I would like to thank anybody who watches this full 30-minute video. It's quite a long video, but basically, I go over the process of both PC and Quest on how to make a Regulus. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing another Regulus tutorial. I thought I would make a more advanced tutorial now that I have more experience in Unity and go over a couple of other things such as bone transfers as well as toggles. Everything that you will need for this video will be linked down below, so let's get straight into it. So the first thing you guys are going to want to do is take over the Vrchat SDK3 and drag and drop it into Unity, hit import and let it import the package, and just wait for it to import. Then the second thing we're going to drag and drop into Unity is the Poiyomi Shaders. Again, we're just going to hit import and let it do its thing. Next, we're going to import the Regulus 2.0. And finally, we are going to import the Toggle Assistant. Alrighty, so now that we have everything imported, we're going to head over to the Regulus folder and we're going to click on the Regulus and drag and drop it into the sample scene. Now, if your Regulus is purple, missing textures, simply click over here in the hierarchy, click on the body, go down to the shader, hit Poiyomi, and just choose whatever Poiyomi you want to choose. I usually go for world, and that's how you texture or reapply the shader texture to the Regulus if it is purple. I believe the Regulus uses LilToon for its standard shader, but you can use any shader that you want, so I have gone with Poi. Alrighty, and that is the Regulus fully out of box with its original textures. Now, you can texture it yourself or you can commission somebody to do these textures. However, I will be showing you guys how to change the texture as well as add emissions to the Regulus. Alrighty, so the first thing we want to do is go into the color normals here and change our texture. Simply just drag and drop the texture file and boom, there is the boy. There he is, all fully textured, just like magic. And then we're going to go into the special FX here and we're going to enable emission 0, and we are also going to grab and drag our emission in here. The Regulus has one as well that comes base, and with Poiyomi, it has all of these cool little features here such as scrolling, blinking, light based, center out, and hue shift, which hue shift just changes the shift color of the hue. And then you want to mess around with the emission strength, and obviously you don't want to go for 20 because now your character is 100% possessed, but you usually want to go for something a bit lower like 4 or 3 and leave it at that. Now you can also use special emissions. For example, here I have a scrolling emission. So if I put on the scroll emission here and leave it at 4 and we hit play on the scene here, it takes a minute for it to load, and then we go into the scene. As you can see, now there is a scrolling effect on the Regulus, and you can mess around with all of these as well, especially when you're in the play editor. You can hit blinking. Now it's blinking. Then you can hit light based, which will be on the light of the world, and you can change everything. You can center it out, which makes you do this. I don't know. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. And then of course you have the hue shift, which is the changing of the colors, so you can now become any color that you want without having to go in and change your character's colors. Now, unfortunately, this does not work on Quest. On Quest, you will only get one emission. You can have multiple emissions on Poi, but on Quest, you will only get one emission. You can't have the scrolling, you can't have the blinking. It will literally just be the standard emission strength here, and that's all you get on the Quest version. They don't have any support for shaders unless you go and use a third-party SDK, which I don't recommend doing. And there's many reasons why I recommend against it, because first of all, it's unstable. I have tried using a third-party SDK before, and the texture basically has to load into the world, and once it's deloaded, you just turn white. Nobody will be able to see you, and second of all, there is potential risk of getting banned if you abuse things like this, so it's just highly not recommend at all. Now, if you're looking for just this, basically the whole texturing and everything's done, you don't want anything else, you are free to come up here into the Vrchat SDK, hit Show Control Panel, and then you're on the Windows version. Well, first we have to exit out of play mode, but then we're going to go back into this. We're going to hit Builder, and you're going to have to fix some things, but you can basically hit Build and Publish for Windows. You can also hit Build and Test. If you're just looking for a bare bones Regulus, I'm not going to do it because I already have made multiple Reguluses before, so yeah. So now we're going to get into something a bit more difficult, and that is the transferring of bones / adding items. And for this, we're going to be using the Sleeve and Stockings by Lunararray. Now you're just going to drag and import it. Again, simple. I would highly recommend dragging it into the Assets folder. This one automatically does it for you. We'll create a new folder within the Assets, but some of the drag and droppable files won't. They will create it within that folder. So yeah, and then once it's done, we can go back over to the Assets here and double click on the sleeves, and here we are going to look for the Regulus sleeves prefab. Now, just about every single prefab works almost identical in the same way. The first thing you're going to want to do, though, is in the hierarchy, you're going to want to hit Unpack Prefab Completely, and then we're going to click the Regulus sleeves, and we're going to drag them and drop them into the Regulus sleeves, and then we're going to unpack this prefab completely as well. We're also going to want to hide the poncho and the pants, and I am going to also just click on this. That way, it's just more not so sparkly, I guess. And then we're going to move on over to the Regulus sleeves, and we're going to drag and drop the arm sleeves and the leg sleeves out to where the body would be, and then we are going to open up the armature. And then first of all, the Regulus sleeves, we're going to take the sleeves armature here and drag it into the armature, and then we're going to take the sleeves hips here and drag it into the hips, and then slowly but surely we are going to transfer every single one of these bones, and this is where you have to like pay close attention, because if you don't, you can mess up. Upper leg goes into the upper leg, lower leg goes into lower leg, and then foot goes into foot, and then toe goes into toe. And you have to do this for literally every single bone transfer. So it is very time consuming. And then we're going to go into the spine, because we have the sleeve spine, the sleeves chest, sleeve shoulder R, and then in shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, hand. And this is where it becomes more time consuming, because this is the hardest part. We're going to drag the index proximal into the index proximal, into the intermediate, into the distal, and then we're going to do it for every other finger as well. And now we're going to do it on the other side. And there we go. We have successfully transferred all of the parts of the sleeve onto the Regulus. And of course you can click on the original Regulus sleeves here and delete that file because that leads to nowhere. And then we have the arm sleeves that we can toggle, as well as the leg sleeves. There's also blend shapes that you guys can use as well when you go into here. So for example, if you don't want your fingers, you can move them, and if you don't want your paws, you can move them. So now your paws will show, and now your fingers, as well as claws. You can also go half sleeves, which just makes the sleeve shorter, and you can make them into gloves. And this is the same with, you know, the feet as well. Usually I just keep it on the paws. Yeah. Alright, so after we have done that, what you want to go do next is go into the Vrchat SDK, hit Show Control Panel, and then we're going to hit Auto Fix, and then we're going to also hit Auto Fix again, because the way the Regulus is set up has its read-write default set to on, and a lot of these prefabs and stuff were made back when the read-write defaults were set to off, and a bunch of other issues within Unity and the Vrchat SDK3. And then basically we're going to click on the arm sleeves as well, and we're going to go into Poiyomi once again, and we're going to hit World, change the Stockings covers, and then we're going to hit the play button. Assume that the play button works, although I don't know what error I'm getting. Okay, so the error here is that when you go and import a package, sometimes they already include the Poiyomi shaders, and basically what happens is it's importing an older version of the shaders, or it's duplicating the shaders, so that basically your shaders that you have put into your project file are just broken, and it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, so in order to fix this, basically what you want to do is take your Poiyomi shaders and delete them, and then basically we're just going to re-import them again. Hit import. And hopefully that should fix the problem. And just like that, now we're able to go back into the play mode and do what I was going to show you, which is basically testing to make sure that your bones are fully connected. You can click on the upper leg, and then up here in the corner there's this little circle thing. Click on that and just, move your feet around, and do it for basically everything to test whether or not the bones are in place. So yeah. And remember, nothing saves in play mode, so you're good to hit play and then press play again, and everything will reset back to default. And if you're working in play mode, nothing over here saves either. Just a heads up in case you forget you are in play mode. So if you don't know as well, the Regulus is in a different language, so we also need to change the language in the expressions. So we're going to basically go into the main here, and the first one is actually the face menu, so we can just name it face menu. And then the second one here is the tail, and then we can rename these up, down, left, right, and all that fun stuff. Now you don't have to do this, but clearly it's better if you do. And then this file here is just the clothing or accessories or whatever you want to call them. It's best to have these labeled, that way you know what you're working with when you start going into doing toggles and everything, because it does certainly get messy, especially when you look at these controls and you have, you know, no idea what they mean. And here's the face menu controls. They're all in English now. Just copy these down, very simple. And then here is the second face menu as well. And in case if you want to go through these, all you have to do is click on the control on the drop down and then just hit on the face 09, and as you can see, it will highlight what menu and what icon it is. So if you want to change these to more better your liking, you can. But yes, this is what I normally use when I have set up the controls and translated them. And now we are going to be making the first toggles for the arm sleeves and leg sleeves. So what you want to do is right click and hit create advanced toggle. Now this comes with the advanced toggles that we installed. It's going to pull up our avatar, and then we're basically going to hit clothing here, double click on it, and we are going to name this one arm sleeves. And then we're just going to hit save state, which means it will save upon loading on a new world. And if you want to hit default state, that means it will always stay on. You can turn it off and that will still turn off as the default state, but this is just so that when you load into the world that it's on at all times. Personally, I prefer default state to be on, but you don't need to have it on. And then over here in the assets, it's going to look for a new folder for new animations. Now if you didn't make a folder like I did, it's just going to create them in the assets folder. Don't forget as well to hit generate off animation, and then you just hit create toggle, and that's all that's going to happen. And then when we go back into the assets, your arm sleeves and arm sleeves on are going to be on. So if you don't want them in there, just create a new folder, title it animations, and you can just drag and drop these into the animations as well. And then we're going to create another one for the leg sleeves. Create advanced toggle, into the clothing, name in the menu, leg sleeves, save state, default state, generate off animation, and then for the folder, just click on folders for new animations and put it in the animations folder, and then just hit create toggle. And there you go. Now you've created 2 toggles for the arm sleeves and the leg sleeves. Alrighty, so now that you have your toggles made, something I should note is that if you go into your expressions and you go into your parameters, they will be here. Now, if you did hit default, you can always just turn it off. Basically, default means it's on at the start, and saved just means it's going to save your state whether it's off or on. So that's, let me clarify that because I didn't think I did a good enough job. And then as well as something that you should know, if you know, let's say click on this and hit up, leg sleeves and arm sleeves, that will break your parameters, especially if you're working on multiple Reguluses. For example, you're making one for PC and making one for Quest. If you copy this project over, and you have different set of parameters on the PC version versus the Quest version, you're going to run into a lot of issues with your toggles. So make sure your parameters are in correct order. It's not obviously going to look exactly like this unless you're following the tutorial. Then you're going to have arm sleeves and leg sleeves underneath pants. But if you're using something else like a bandana or maybe a hat or a t-shirt or something like that, it's going to look different. Make sure that when you copy over your project for the Quest version and or PC version, vice versa, that your parameters are correctly in order, or else it's going to show something completely different and break the parameters on both versions. So basically what that means is if I move the leg sleeves up, right, on the PC version, then when I turn on leg sleeves, it's going to actually turn on the arm sleeves. So just beware of that. Alrighty, the next thing we're going to be adding into our project file now is the Avatars 3.0 Manager. Simply drag and drop and hit import and let it do its thing. We're also going to be adding in the laydown animations by Nirvash. So once both of those Unity files have been imported, we want to go over to our Regulus, go into our expressions, our main, hit add control, and we're going to name this new control laydown. And we are also going to change it into a submenu for now. Once we have our submenu created for our laydown, we are going to click on it, go down to submenu _ laydown, double click on that. Now the Regulus 2.0 doesn't have a action layer, so we are going to click on it and use the action layer _ laydown pose multiple for it as well here. And then what we are going to do is click on the VR Labs avatar managers up here, open up our Regulus 2.0, and then go into our parameters, and then we are going to go and look for the params laydown. Double click on it and then hit copy parameters. Now this is an example we're going to delete, and your avatar should have existing parameters we're also going to delete because we don't need that. And then for the locomotion, we're going to hit default and saved on it as well. And that's all. At this point, your Regulus is ready to go for PC. You have your laydowns, you have your clothing, and you have basically your textures. You can now go up to the Vrchat SDK, hit show control panel, and you can either build and test the avatar here or build and publish it for Windows. I would recommend building and testing to make sure everything functions correctly, just to make sure. I have already built and tested this to make sure as well that this has functioned correctly, and it is indeed working if you have followed step by step by step. But yes, you are good to go for PC, so now we're going to be switching over to the Quest side of things. Alrighty, and now here comes the Quest part. So you're going to want to, open up the Vrchat SDK and switch build target to Android. If this is grayed out, that means you have to download a Android build of Unity. Basically you're going to click on the switch build target, you're going to hit confirm, it's going to take a minute, and it's just going to compile all the scripts, and we're just going to let it do its thing. And there it is. It is now done. And basically what we're going to do is close out of the Vrchat SDK here. Once it loads fully. I thought it was done. It actually bamboozled me. Okay, we're gonna wait for it to continue to import. Okay, now it's done. And as you can see here on the Vrchat SDK, the reason why I was going to close it is because I thought I didn't update, but here on the Vrchat SDK, as you can see, there's all these errors because we're using Poiyomi. Again, shaders are not allowed on Quest, and as well as the Physbone components, which I will show you guys how to make Physbones, as well as get all the Physbones on this avatar to work. So yeah. So the first thing we are going to do is fix the Poiyomi Shaders. So if you've uploaded and built /test, the shader is going to be locked, but that's okay. We're going to head over to Vrchat Mobile and Standard Light. Standard Light. And we are going to lower the smoothness and basically do this for every single one of our clothing that has textures on it. And make sure, again, you know, drag and drop the metallic and smoothness. You don't want that up unless it's something that has like a belt or something. But yeah. Okay, so now it's time to do the VRC Physbone optimization. If you watched my last video, it's basically the same as that, except for there's a new trick that I've learned. I know it's wild, it's wacky. First of all, we're getting rid of basically the pants. Like the pants, they have no purpose being here, so just remove the VRC Physbone pants. They're in the upper leg. Pants pocket L, pants up L, and then in the upper leg R, pants pocket R, and upper leg R dash 22 or 002. Remove them. That removes 4. That means we have 10 Physbones in total. The next thing we're going to go through is spine, chest, neck, head. Now you can choose between either the ears or the hair, and the trade-off here is that when you combine Physbones, it acts as one Physbone, and it also increases the transform counts. So this will not work 100% all the time, but basically it treats that part of the body as one Physbone. Obviously, if you want to be able to grab both ears or whatever, you're going to want to leave both those Physbones on. So we're going to do the hair here, and basically we're just going to copy the component here, and then remove both these components. Click on the F hair, add a component, VRC Physbone, drag and drop this into here and paste the component values. Make sure you drag and drop the F hair into the root transform after you've pasted the component values. Slight mistake on my end there, but glad I caught it. And basically that takes both the hair and turns it into one. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the chest, and we're going to take the poncho back here, and we are going to drag and drop it into the hoodie. And then we're just going to remove the poncho back component, copy the VRC Physbone on the hood component. Or, well, you don't really have to copy it, but just drag and drop the hood, and it's going to count as both, as one long Physbone. So, pants, poncho, and then we can hit play, go into the scene here, click on the Regulus, and when we move him around, he's going to have basically all the Physbones that he would normally have, minus the pants. If you're wondering what the pants look like, it's just some little jiggle on the pockets and right up here. It's nothing all that special compared to like the ears, the hair, the string, the tail, you know, the back of the hoodie and the top of the hoodie. So, and yeah, that's the VRC Physbone. So when we go, we can now upload and build and publish this for Android. So yeah, that's the end of the tutorial. You've finished the whole thing. You've not only made yourself a PC Regulus, but you've also made it Quest compatible. So, you know, it's pretty great. Not much more else to say. So hopefully this tutorial has helped a lot of new people try and get into this avatar making, if that makes sense. But yeah, I also want to say that For the pants, the reason why I didn't just like make the pants 2 and 2 or 1 Physbone each, first of all, we would still be over our Physbone limit by 2 Physbones, and second of all, the transform counts go from 52 to like 82, 84. So even if we manage to put the strings together and the ears together to get those 2 Physbones, we still wouldn't be able to do it due to the transform count limitation that Quest has. So just get rid of the pants. Simple as that. Alrighty, thank you guys for watching.